What's up YouTube, Dale here from Zephyr, and today I am bringing you a test and combo video for the Blue Eyes Synchro profile that I showed you all the other day. So I thought this would be helpful for you all to see how the deck operates on a randomized basis, the ideal end goals that you're going to want to achieve, and then I'm also going to talk you through different interactions of hand traps, how you can try and play around them, the type of ways you want to kind of navigate depending on reading the room and your local environment. So with all of that out of the way, please smash that like button, hit that notification bell, and subscribe so you don't miss out on any more upcoming content. After a very decent shuffle and a good old cut, our starting hand of 5 will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so this hand's actually not so bad. You've got your ideal starter in the form of the Sage. You've still got a Bestial that will allow you to push through a little bit more as well. And of course, we've got the Neo Kaiser Seahorse, which will allow you to extend a little bit later on. Now, annoyingly, it has to be sent from the field to the grave to send the Blue Eyes, which would have helped us out. But we've also got loads of different routes that we can kind of work with. So start off by normal summoning Sage. This is one of the first points of interaction that your opponent can kind of stop you. And that's why it's sometimes quite nice to hold back the wishes, as some people might hold an Ash for when you set a wishes off of the back of True Light. But then there are times when you could hold back the True Light so it can either become a revival or, of course, you can set anything. So going with the Sage with Eyes of Blue, the one you're going to want to go for more times than not will be your Maiden. The brand new Maiden, because that's just going to give you a little bit more advantage to kind of set up. So you add this, you then activate Maiden. This will allow you to place True Light face up into the spam trap zone. And now, of course, you can use True Light to search your Wisage if you haven't already got it. But honestly, I think you're in a position where you can kind of push a little bit further through. So we'll turn our Sage into our Link 1 Spirit with Eyes of Blue. Use Spirit's Effect to tribute... Oh, wait, jump to step. Use Spirit's Effect to grab your Mausoleum. Jumped a step ahead on that one I did. Grab the Mausoleum, activate the Mausoleum, use the effect, target this Spirit to send the Blue Eyes from deck to grave. Now use Spirit's Tribute effect to revive your Blue Eyes White Dragon, which will then allow you to trigger the Maiden's effect in the grave to summon it back to the board. Now, going first, you're going to want to prioritize your Synchro plays. That's when you're going to get a bit more defensive because Spirit Dragon brings out the Synchros into defense, and that's when you're going to try and want to work your way through into a Crimson Dragon. So now what we'll do here is we'll activate, or we'll special summon down the Neo Kaiser Seahorse because we control Blue Eyes White Dragon. You can now skip a step by synchroing these two together and going straight into a Crimson Dragon. In doing so, you now have the ability of activating True Light to revive a Blue Eyes from the graveyard and trigger off the back of the Neo Kaiser to send you a Blue Eyes from deck to grave, meaning you've got that additional Blue Eyes in the graveyard, so that should you choose to target Maiden later on with the card you search off of your Wishes with Eyes of Blue, you can also revive another Blue Eyes. So again, you're in this bit of a position where you can either use decide to use True Light to bring back the Blue Eyes, or of course you can activate your Wishes for Eyes of Blue. Really is up to you. Honestly, I'm just going to bring back the Blue Eyes White Dragon, and then I'm going to synchro these two together. I don't really need to worry about targeting the Maiden right now this minute to go into a Spirit Dragon. True off the Spirit Dragon, this will then give me direct access to my Ultimateness. I can then use Crimson Dragon to put itself back into the extra deck, and then summon out a Stardust Sphere Dragon, sorry. So now with all of that, I've still got a Synchro Rumble that will allow me to revive a tuner should I need to. I've got Wishes that will allow me to discard a card, and I've also got Ball Drake to act as an interruption. At this moment in time, honestly, I don't think the Synchro Rumble is that much use to me. Obviously, it would have been great if I was able to add it back from the graveyard of a Crimson Dragon, or just add it in general, and this would have acted as like a random card. But now we're just going to use it as free discard fodder. Now what we get to do is add a light tuner and a spell or trap that mentions Blue Eyes. Because I've got 2 Blue Eyes in the graveyard, and if I want to be a bit more protected about what I'm going to be facing, honestly, I'd go for an Effect Veiler and I'd go for Majesty. This will then guarantee me a hand trap against my opponent plus pop 2. If I want to be a bit more aggressive and I want to push the board a little bit further on, instead of going for Effect Veiler, you'd probably actually go for something like Master. Wherever it may be. You can go for Raw and you can go for Master. So it really is up to you. Honestly, I'm quite happy with this end board here, plus a Bestial and a Veiler and a pop 2. To me, that gives me the benefit of everything. If my opponent like Dark Rulers me, I've still got 2 hand traps and a double pop. If my opponent was to evenly match me and I'm not able to stop it, or they negate this, or Dark Ruler then evenly me, I still have 2 hand traps and this. Otherwise, if you go down this route, it's a little bit greedy, but it does make your board a little bit harder to deal with. And what I mean by that is, so I'll show you both options, because option number 1 is that's the option I would personally go for. Option number 2 would be adding these. So if you were to go with option number 2 and add these two here, what you do is you get the additional normal summon off of the back of the Mausoleum, normal summon down the Master. This will then allow you to add a light tune-up from the graveyard, so you can add back your Sage. And keeping in mind, Sage can still discard itself from the hand to turn something into a Blue Eyes. Ignore these two right now, these are just 2 blanks. Then of course we've got the ability to activate Roar, which will allow me to get the 3rd Blue Eyes from the deck, which will get me, there we go. And then what you're adding here is you'd add another Synchro to the board. So you'd Synchro these two together. You'd go into a 2nd Spirit Dragon. You'd pass your turn. During your opponent's turn, you'd go Spirit Dragon. Tag this out into Crimson Dragon. Crimson Dragon, target either of these, doesn't matter. Put this back into the extra, and then you get another level 12. So you'd probably go for something like your Cosmic Blazar Dragon. So what you've done is you've swapped out a Pop 2, a Fet Veiler and a Bestial for a Cosmic Blazar and a Bestial. So really is up to you, tomatoes, on how greedy you want to be and what board presence you want to add. So yeah, you've got a couple of different options, but you can see what you can kind of achieve with that, which is really kind of cool. And that was with opening up like 2 cards you don't really want to be seeing, like single cards you don't really want to be seeing in your hand. Like I don't want to see Synchro Rumble in my hand. That is the risk of running it. I would not be surprised if you wanted to cut it completely, and if you did, that's absolutely fine. So anyway, what we're going to do is we're now going to shuffle up. We'll do a 2nd test stand going first. So shuffling up, cutting up, and then starting with a test stand going first, being 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, interesting. I can work with this. So start off with Dictator of D. This will then send a Blue Eyes from deck to the grave. I can then use the effect of Dictator D if I want to send Jet from the hand to the grave to then bring back the Blue Eyes. There we go. This doesn't really add a lot to your board. And what I mean by that is, bar me getting the Magnamute to the board, like if I wanted to, I could go Magnamute, target the Jet Dragon, banish this, summon this, Magnamute's effect, so I get a guaranteed search in the end phase. And then what you do here is you'd Synchro these two for the Chaos Angel. If you do that, the only benefit is your monsters can't be destroyed by battle, which honestly isn't worth it because you're still going to get headfirst into a nib. So you'd probably much rather hold on to this. Also, the other way of doing it is you're probably better off holding on to the Dictator of D, put the Blue Eyes back into the deck, and hold on to this one. So just reset it. So that's the instant reaction. I think the better and safer play, if you're trying to play around and navigate through hand traps, is you go normal summon Sage. If they stop this, you still fall back on the Dictator of D play. Sage would grab you your Maiden. Maiden would grab you your True Light. Whoop, there we go. And then, of course, it's up to you if you want to set the True Light and then, set a spell off of the back of True Light, or if you want to go down the Blue Eyes route. Really is up to you. So if we go Sage into Spirit, oh, jumping a step. Spirit, grab your Mausoleum. The reason I quite like holding back the True Light is it kind of makes your opponent think, okay, well, when do I interact? So do I go Mausoleum, target this, and do they try and interact there? Which if they do, then I've still got the ability of setting off the back of the True Light, so it's not really that bad of an issue. Do they try and interact when I go Spirit's effect? Because they know I'm going to get back Blue Eyes and Maiden. So there's just so many different interacting points, it kind of makes it very tricky for your opponent. So bring back Blue Eyes, obviously trigger back Maiden from the graveyard. But now we've got the Synchro options on the board. Now keeping in mind, and this is something that I only recently learned, is Sage is not hard once per turn on the normal summon, which is insane. So I could just go additional normal summon off the back of Mausoleum, normal summon Sage, Sage, grab. Now we're going to go for Fet Veiler, because now I've got a guaranteed hand trap in the hand. Great. If I wanted to get another Blue Eyes on the board, which I'm already past Nibiru territory, but you still haven't used True Light yet, I've still got an Fet Veiler, I've still got a Magnamute, is you can now go Dictator of D, send a Blue Eyes. I mean, that could have also allowed me to save the Mausoleum as well, to be honest. I could have saved the Mausoleum and then targeted the Maiden instead. But we can do that. Effect a Dictator, discard the Jet, revive the Blue Eyes. The only issue with doing something like this is I do now lock all of my Blue Eyes under a... So if I was to make the rank 8, this is the only other issue, is that if I make the rank 8 here, because I'm worried about Nibiru, like I said, way past the point of, like, if they're going to Nibiru me, they'll Nibiru me early, but if they think, oh, he's just going to make 2 Synchro level 9s, I'll hold the Nibiru to the end of the turn, I make Galaxy Eyes Photonord, and they're like, yeah, probably shouldn't have waited. In doing so, the biggest issue I now have is that I can only add a Chaos Angel to this board, which isn't that effective. I still have the ability of saving the True Light as well if I want to. So you've got loads of different options. kind of wherever you want to take it. So Dictator D can still revive the Blue Eyes, or you can hold back the Dictator D and use it later on. What is up to you. Because this is a Synchro version, we'll Synchro number 1, we'll Synchro number 2, we will Spirit number 1, Spirit number 2, Crimson number 1, into this one. Still got True Light, still got Dictator D, so still got an Effect Veiler. Really is up to you. True Light. I just want to play this defensively. I think I've got enough to do what I need to do. So I'd much rather go True Light. Like, bringing back a Blue Eyes doesn't get me anything. It doesn't really add anything to my end board. So I'd actually go True Light, set Majesty. And now during my opponent's turn, what I've got is I've got a Magnamute, I've got a Veiler, I've got a Pop 2, and then I've got both of these in. So I've got Negate off of the back of this. This is going to stop this from being destroyed. This can also be a Negate. I've got True Light to revive a Blue Eyes from the graveyard if I want it to. So I think that's just like more than enough interaction to deal with my opponent. It's just going to make it so much awkward. I've still got Jet Dragon in the graveyard that can float around. So yeah, I think that's still pretty powerful kind of presence on the board as well. So now what we'll do is we'll start going second. So we'll start showing the aggression and then the additional 6th card, trying to break boards as well. This is where it does get a little bit interesting because your Spirit Dragon goes from being a great starter or like a great go first card to not so great going first, because the card it tributes into has to come into defense. And then that doesn't give you the attack presence you want. So that's where you need to make sure that if you're going to go Spirit Dragon to tag out, you need to get 2 on the board so that you can turn your Crimson Dragon into an aggressor. That's where it's only going to really benefit you. Otherwise, you honestly just leave the Blue Eyes on the board themselves and they just go, cool, Blue Eyes, attack, and then that'll pretty much get you game. That's where the level 10 Synchro is probably coming to play a little bit more as well. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, I definitely shuffled. Veiler, Assault. Okay. So with this particular route of play, now of course I can go Master to add back the Veiler. Not really going to help me. So let's go with Dictator, send in Blue Eyes White Dragon. Kind of still want Master because I feel Master's normal summon is still going to help me. I could discard the trap card actually. Will probably be the most beneficial thing for me. Should go Dictator of D, discard the discard the trap card. Special on Black Blue Eyes. Special summon Assault Synchron. Synchro these two together. Go into a 10. So banish over the back of Chaos Angel, and then both the effects are active, which is great. Now what we can do here is we can turn this into this. Tribute this off. Sorry, keep skipping a step. So eager to tribute off to get me our Blue Eyes. Grab me Mausoleum. There we go. Activate said Mausoleum. Now, we're always using this to buff. So during the main phase, normal summon 1 level light in addition to your normal summon set. Once per turn, target a face-up monster you control, send a normal monster from the hand or deck to the graveyard, and if you do, the attack gains attack equal to the level of that monster. You can banish this card from the graveyard, add a burst stream. I mean, I'm not adding a burst stream. I can tell you that for nothing. So then what we'll do here is we'll Spirit, tribute this off to grab you back the Blue Eyes. Now keep in mind, this will trigger if a face-up Dragon Synchro is tributed, so it's very important. Normal Summon Master as our main normal summon. Effective Master to add you back the Effect Veiler. Synchro these into a 9. Now the only benefit of doing something like this is you'll go Spirit Dragon, tag out, get you a Defender. And because you tributed, you'd then go Assault, Banish, bring back Spirit. There is a benefit for doing something like this, don't worry. So what you've got now is you've got Master's ability, if you want to target an effect monster you control, send it to the graveyard, and if you do, special on a Blue Eyes from the grave, other than the sent monster. And because I've still got my additional normal summon of a level 1, I can go, cool, normal summon down Veiler. I now have the option to turn Master into a Blue Eyes White Dragon if I want to, or this is where the other level 10 Synchro is going to come into play, is you can now go into another level 10 Synchro. So it's entirely up to you on which one you want to go for. Your Gen X is going to be the most defensive, as it will allow you to currently negate Lights and Darks, because you've got Dictator D and then you've got your Blue Eyes. You can also go into Disbatter, and this will then give you the negate because you've got your Assault Synchron banished. Your final option, again, if you play it, is your Cheng Ying, and the reason you'd go for the Cheng Ying is because you've got a Bestial. So what you'd get here, not only do you get the banish off of your Chaos Angel, but you would turn these into one of these, and you'd go Magnamute, target any of your light or darks in the graveyard. Probably Dictator is the one you want to get rid of the most. Get rid of that, summon down Magnamute. Cheng Ying would trigger to banish another one. Magnamute's effect will search you in the end phase. Whether you need it or not, it's a different story. This obviously has the attack modulation, so you've got that ability for you. So it depends on what you want to go for. This is obviously going to get destroyed in the end phase, which will then float back into a Spirit Dragon. But the reason that you did something like that was to tribute it to then bring back off of the back of the Axel. But this should be enough for game. So at the base minimum, you've got exactly 8k on the board. I think you've got more than 6, 7, 8, 9k, sorry. You've got 9k on the board if you were to go with these three. You've got 9,500 if you were to go with these three. And you've got 6, 8, 9, 1 if you go with these three. So, again, it's up to what you fear the most. But if you go down any of these Synchro, like this particular end board route, you are putting everything you have onto that board. So, if you're going to put everything you have on that board, you want to make sure you're going to win that game, because they'll win that match. Because if you don't, then they're going to be able to crap back. And you make it a little bit awkward. Yes, you still have Chaos Angel, but then you'd want to make sure you go for something like a Disbatter, or you'd want to make sure you go for something like a Gen X, because then at least you'll still be able to negate as well, which is really important. Anyway, now what we'll do is we'll go second for the final time, just so you can see what it can do. And that's with a bit of a weird hand as well. Like, not the most straightforward, not our ideal normal summon. Like, can you imagine if our Master wasn't our normal summon, but Sage was? Like, that would have just added so much more to our plays. Anyway, we're now going to shuffle this up. We're now going to do our final test stand going second, being... There we go. 1, 2, 3... I mean, you're watching me shuffle. You're watching me shuffle. Okay, I mean, this hand can still work, which is really, really weird. But like, my opponent would have eaten two Veilers and an Ash, okay? For sure, because my 6th card was Blue Eyes. We normal summon down Master. Master will add us back the Veiler. We will then turn Master into Spirit. Spirit would grab us Mausoleum. Mate, Link ones are always so broken. Always so broken. Grab Mausoleum. Mausoleum target, send Blue Eyes. Tribute this off for Blue Eyes. Still got my additional normal summon if I want to get a level 9 on the board. But the Spirit doesn't really help me. So special summon down Assault. Synchro these two together. Again, not ideal, really, is it? Gets us Chaos Angel. Chaos Angel gets a non-target banish, and we are literally just playing Chaos Angel Turbo. But they would have eaten an Ash and 2 Veilers, which would have made it like their board that weaker. And then I still have an Effect Veiler to drop on them during my turn, or during the next turn. So, not the most broken, which I'm going to redo the hand anyway. But like, not the most broken, but just from the worst kind of hand, wasn't so bad. Still got to a Chaos Angel. If I wanted to go down a Spirit route, I could do. Yeah. Okay, let's try this again, right? Man, I wish my shuffles were, like, I was able to kind of get those, like, better cards. Like, if I was going to stack a deck, you'd surely want to be stacking better cards than that. This is all, like, randomized shuffling. I would power shuffle, but it just takes forever. There we go. We'll shuffle up. We're going to redo it anyway. You kind of saw that the hand was still pretty good. So, like, for an opponent to play through 3 hand traps, and then also play for a Chaos Angel, couldn't be destroyed by battle, couldn't be destroyed by, unaffected by monster effects, and then a banish as well is pretty good. There we go. Right, shuffling up, cutting up. Now our final test stand will be 1, 2. I swear to God, if I see Master, I'm going to be so annoyed. 5. I mean, that's hand trap central. That's mental. I mean, I've got no starters, but that's still mental. Actually, I have got a really good start. I've got ability into Chaos Angel. So, before I get to the 6th, I would like to think that I go... I mean, I don't know if I go Nibiru here, but either way, I would like to think at the very least I go Magnamute. Because at least the Magnamute is going to get me a dragon. Not that it's going to get me a star, because all my stars are spellcasters, but... at least it would give me a Druid Swarm, which gives me a bit more board presence as well. Don't really want a Blue Eyes in the hand, because this hand just isn't going to gain advantage off of the back of that. But shuffle up. I mean, I would have made sure they eat an Imperm beforehand. I still have the Baldrake. I mean, I think this could just be a bestial beatdown unless this top card's a starter. Please be a starter. It's not a starter. I can get Blue Eyes to the graveyard. I could turn the Kaiser Seahorse, you know, into the Sage. Sorry, into the Spirit with Eyes of Blue. Because like, what you do is you'd go normal summon Kaiser. And then you turn Kaiser into your Spirit. Spirit's effect will grab you Mausoleum. Using Kaiser's effect as well, sending Blue Eyes from deck to the grave. So you grab Mausoleum, send a Blue Eyes from deck to the grave. It now means that I don't need to use Mausoleum's effect to buff one of my monsters. I can actually save that for later. I can then tribute this off to bring back Blue Eyes. I could, like, if I got the Kaiser on the board, the Kaiser gives me a light and dark Chaos Angel, which is just as disruptive for my opponent as anything. But then I still have Battle Phase, and I go, cool, Druid Swarm, banish, Balldrake, banish, tack, 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 tack. And I still got the ability, if I want to go Mausoleum during the main phase to target this or this, send one from deck to the grave, and then go from there. So, I mean, even when it bricks, it still bricks fairly decently. Obviously not the most perfect way to send this off, but... Alright, I'll tell you what, let's do one more, I don't want to end on Bestial Beatdown, that's just not fun. I want to be able to show you all my Synchros again. Anyway, we'll shuffle this up. I swear, if I don't see a starter, we'll go until I see another starter, but that is the one downside of not playing the Primites, is the Synchro version doesn't add starters to the deck, whereas the Primite version does. It adds like 6 starters, but still. Shuffle. Cut. Top 6. 1. It's not a starter. 2. That's a starter. There we go. 3. 4. 5. Eat an Ash. 6. Kaiser. Woo! We got starters. Not the most hand traps possible, but still pretty decent. Normal Sage. What do I want to add with Sage? I'm not going to add Effect Veil out. I'm just going to add Master. Master. Because I already have Maiden. So we'll go Maiden. Discard. Grab me True Light. True Light could get me Wishes if I want it to. Don't know if I need it. Don't know if I want it to. Link into this. Mausoleum. Mausoleum. There we go. That's a Mausoleum. Do I feel I need to use Mausoleum's effect? Probably should. Well, Mausoleum. We will send Blue Eyes from deck to grave. Tribute this off. Bring back Blue Eyes. Maiden's effect triggers. Brings itself back. Great success. I control Blue Eyes, so I can special summon down Kaiser. I can additional normal summon down Master. Master grabs back Sage. So I've got a Synchro 12. I can then True Light bring back the Blue Eyes for a Synchro 9. And then I can target the Maiden. So we'll go Synchro 12 into Crimson. We will True Light bring back Blue Eyes. Synchro 9 into Spirit. Spirit's effect for this. Effect of Crimson for this. Basically done a switcheroo there. Now, do I Sage or do I Master? Probably should Sage, really. Probably should have got the Blue Eyes from the hand, actually, rather than the grave with True Light, just to get it out there. If we go Sage... I mean, actually, this is fine. Sage, target Maiden, right? And then Maiden's effect will trigger. I'm going to bring back Blue Eyes. I'm just going to go Aggression. What the hell not? Sage will then turn that into Jet and just double check it specials it in attack or specials it in anything. Special on the Blue Eyes from the deck. Great. So now I've got both of these in attack. If I want to add another Synchro to it, I just go cool, Synchro Rumble. Target will be Master, Maiden, or Sage. Doesn't make any difference. Bring one of them back. And then you would Synchro a 9. And go into your Spirit Dragon again. You haven't really upgraded the board, you've actually downgraded your board because your board would go from 2 3Ks to 2500. But again, this is just a scenario of, okay, well, I'll hold this, this stays in the graveyard, I'll hold this back, I'll go to battle phase, 3, 6, 10k damage on board. If my opponent, if I can't finish the opponent off there, I go, cool, main phase 2, Synchro Rumble, bring back Sage. Synchro probably these two together to keep Blue Eyes on the board, like, it puts Jet in the grave, go into this. And then you can either go Spirit Dragon, tag out now into a Crimson Dragon, so you don't activate it during your opponent's draw phase. Like, you should go Crimson Dragon here, pass your opponent's turn, Crimson Dragon, target either of these, doesn't matter, put it back into the extra deck, and give you a Cosmic Blazer. And you're like, okay, cool. Now I'm facing down a True Light, which can either summon a Blue Eyes or, of course, set a spell or trap, which gives me the follow-up for the next turn. They've got to deal with a Cosmic Blazer, they've got to deal with a Blue Eyes Ultimate, and then they've also got to deal with a Stardust Divine Dragon, and then they've also got to deal with a Jet in the graveyard as well. So, and then if I do special on a Blue Eyes back from the grave, if this was to go to the grave, then Maiden would come back. I could then bring back Blue Eyes, and then which would in turn bring back Maiden. So that is pretty much it. That is a better like final test hand to kind of play with. But I suppose it's quite important to show you what happens when the deck goes off, what happens when the deck doesn't open up so well, but can still present a board. Anyway, I hope you found this informative and helpful. If you do have any questions at all, by all means, please put them in the comments down below. I will be more than happy to answer them for you. But for now, as absolutely always, stay safe and, of course, happy dueling.